This is office hours, and we are Basecamp Outdoor. We are the working hub for the outdoor industry. If you are part of the outdoor industry, you should be part of Basecamp because we share jobs, contacts, and advice. We answer each other's questions, all the fun stuff. And we are doing office hours to peel back the curtain into some of the best workplaces in the industry because there are some great employers, but a job description is just not enough to really get that information to the people that would be great fits. So we're doing office hours to get a little bit of a behind the scenes into Backbone Media tonight. We have Greg and we have Christine. And we would love, Christine, why don't you start for you to introduce yourself and just give us a little bit of an intro about who you are and why you're here today.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Christine. I'm a PR director at Backbone Media. I've been at Backbone for about 5 years now. I wanted to make my way back to the outdoor industry from my first job just out of college. I was in New York City and I landed a gig in publishing and was able to dabble in the outdoor industry a little bit, which was quite the juxtaposition between the sky rises and concrete of New York City and the mountains of where I call home now in Colorado. But I got a dose of the community that is the outdoor industry and just fell in love. So not only did I fall in love with the mountains when I was visiting and traveling west, I fell in love with the community that comes with the outdoor industry. And so on a storied journey through work with nonprofits in the community mental health space and a different agency in the advertising space, I landed a job at Backbone about 5 years ago and couldn't be happier.
Awesome. And Greg, tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, I'm Greg Williams. I've been out in the outdoor industry for quite some time. After I graduated from college in Pennsylvania, I started the Philadelphia Rock Gym. So first generation climbing gym in Philadelphia, and have been in the outdoor industry ever since. I met my wife in the climbing gym, and we were coming out west a lot to climb, and we wanted to get our life started in a mountain town, and we found Carbondale, had never heard of it before, and ended up working at Climbing Magazine. And there's a thread from Climbing Magazine for Backbone, and Penn Newhart, who co-founded Backbone with Lisa Raleigh, were both working there when Climbing was acquired by Prime Media, a publicly traded media company in New York. And Lisa and Penn had seen how the efficacy of hard-hitting product reviews were, and had this notion to start a PR agency in the outdoor industry. There was one other firm up in Jackson Hole that was doing it, but by and large, it was pretty new. And Lisa, she's a force of nature, said, "Come on, Penn, get a Backbone. Let's start this, noodle boy." So that's how Backbone was named and was started. And that was 25 years ago. I joined about 16 years ago, have worn many hats here. Currently as a partner and VP of media, kind of working across everything we do on the paid side of things.
Nice. Thanks for that, Greg. Allie here. So nice to see all of you. I just wanted to jump in and just mention some sort of housekeeping details about how the event will go. So Jenna and I will be asking questions off the bat and kind of getting to know Backbone a little bit better, the work culture, and asking about what types of employees they're looking for. And then we would love for you all to just hop into the chat and ask your questions. If you haven't been to an office hours before, this is the way that we do it. So just hop into the chat, ask any questions that you have throughout the conversation, and we will call you up to ask your question to Christine and Greg directly as it is relevant to the conversation. And then towards about maybe halfway through, a little bit through our event tonight, we will just kind of turn it over to questions and try our best to get everyone in and let everybody ask their question. It kind of depends on how many questions we have, but we look forward to hearing from all of you tonight. All right, Jenna, you want to take it away?
Yeah, sure thing. The audience questions are typically better than ours, so we totally encourage you to ask if it's on your mind. But yeah, we're just going to start with like Backbone. Where are you located? These easy questions. And what do you do all day?
So maybe I'll start in there with a little of the kind of genesis around Backbone. Really, we started as a social experiment. Could we provide meaningful work in a beautiful place and provide a work-life balance? And that was 25 years ago. We were started in Carbondale. So we have a mountain office and a city office. I'm in our mountain office in Carbondale, which is Western Colorado, 3 hours west of Denver. Christine's in our Denver office. We have about half of our staff in each. We have 92 current employees split between Denver and Carbondale, and we have people in 12 states. So we do have some people working full remote. We'll speak to that a little bit coming up. But we're an independent agency. We are, I would say, differentiated and focused in two primary areas of marketing, both paid media and earned media. We think paid and earned media complement each other well. We think there's a powerful intersection between paid and earned. That's a gray area where kind of you can be creative. We say the magic happens. It's also given us permission to expand our services to do things more like social media marketing, affiliate marketing, influencer and content marketing. So really, all of those services have been born from the trust and tenure of many longstanding clients that we've had. And when I started, there were 6 of us here, and we were doing PR, and we were doing it for Black Diamond Equipment and Cloudveil and Polar Tech. Black Diamond's still a client 25 years later, which is wild. But we have these really, really deep relationships and trust that we've gained with our clients. And that's how we have expanded and grown our business, is through that trust. And that's how I was doing PR, but I was coming from the sales side of things at Climate Magazine. This is pre-internet, dating myself a bit. And our clients, Cloudveil, Polar Tech, Gerber, they were asking us to create paid media plans for them. And typically that would be print ads, it would be sponsorship of some hunting shows. And then that just grew. We had a couple inflection points in our business that really sprung kind of our growth. One of which really important was New Belgium Brewing. We brought them on as a paid media client, and it was just this inflection point. And I remember coming back from Fort Collins, and it was with Lindsey Brown, a team member who just retired from Backbone on Friday, which is wild. Somebody retired from Backbone. And we're driving back, merging onto I-70, and we're like, okay, we won New Belgium's business. We're excited. They were an iconic craft brand. Well, craft, there was like 10 craft breweries, not 10,000. We're like, we need a filing cabinet and learn how to make insertion orders. So here we are now, many, many years past that. We'll buy about $45 million worth of media this year. And we have about 40 team members that are focused on paid media all day, every day. So I touched on a couple things there, Jenna, but we're the one thing, we're independent. We have no shareholders, we have no investors, we don't carry debt. We're really just this group of 90 some individuals that all like each other, trying to do great work for our clients. And growth is one of our core values, and we want to see what we can do. We don't want to be known as a boutique agency in the outdoor industry only. We just had a great 25 years, and we're looking to the next 25.
And I would just add, because Jenna, you asked what we do all day. We have fun. Of course, work is, this is overused, but a 4-letter word. So there are days where you're head down and grinding, but we like to say that we're an extension of our brand's marketing team. So all of the services and disciplines that Greg just touched upon, we're an extension of their marketing team. It's not usually just PR or just paid media. We dig in and lean in wherever we're needed. So in the same way that we're an extension of our brand's marketing teams, I kind of think of Backbone as an extension of my family. I'm from the East Coast. All my family's back in Massachusetts and Rhode Island. And this is my Colorado family. And so we have fun on most days. We do really cool work, and we work really hard for our brands. And then we have a lot of fun both in and outside of the office together.
Awesome. So Greg, you mentioned Black Diamond. Who are some of your current clients today?
Yeah, I'll speak to that. So really, we started in core outdoor. We were working with uphill ski brands and climbing brands 25 years ago. There were like 10 people uphill skied and maybe 100 people climbed. So that was kind of limiting. So we've really kind of opened up what the definition of who we work with, and we call it the active lifestyle category. And that category, depending on how you define it, is 60 million Americans that can really drive meaningful work, meaningful growth for small startups, the publicly traded brands. And within active lifestyle, it's allowed us to really kind of open the aperture in the categories that we work in. So we work in outdoor, and we work with some blue chip great brands there: Smartwool, Osprey, Black Diamond Equipment. We work in the hunt fish category. We work with Sims Fishing, Gerber, Yeti Coolers, Sitka. We have travel and tourism clients, mostly mountain destinations: Breckenridge, Telluride, Sun Valley. We also work with more lifestyle brands. Uni Pizza Ovens, really fast growing brand. Solo Stoves. We just won Tecovas, which is a cowboy boot brand down in Austin. So, we have this, I don't know what this means, but really unbelievable client roster. And everybody on our website right now is a current client. And within those clients, we have many, and many are very long-term. It's very, very common that we will have more than one service. Some brands will work on PR and media and affiliate. Some other brands will work on social and Google suite of products. So we are flexible in terms of where we work with brands, but mostly, and what's really fueled our growth, is growing with our existing clients. And it's not required that you have multiple services with us, but really from the new business side of things and whatnot, it's a really, I think, potent story in terms of, aligning PR pitches with maybe even call it performance PR in terms of conversion that's being driven through the affiliate links, or a brand story being amplified with paid social. So our teams work very closely together, which we'll probably get to in a bit, but then also I think provides an opportunity to learn new skills internally. We've had people move around Backbone, and that's really important in really looking at career growth for our team.
Samantha, you had a relevant question, I think, for Greg and Christine, if you want to ask that to them.
You said Samantha, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I'm driving to look at the fall colors.
Oh,
right now.
sorry.
So I'm not sorry. My boyfriend, it's his birthday. He's driving.
Okay.
But no, my question to you guys was: is there a dream client that you have, like your sights on? You're like, man, if we could land them, that would like be the pinnacle of my career.
Yeah, we've always joked we want to work for a country. We've worked with Ski Canada for years now, and kind of this collection of resorts and destinations in Canada. But it's a great question, and we ask ourselves, and we work with a lot of them. We work for Patagonia, we work for Yeti, we work for BD. So we want to believe in the brand and the products that they make. Oftentimes, I like your BD hat that you're wearing. We want to believe in the brand and the products, which often aligns us with people, like-minded people that we want to work with. We want to work with a company that can kind of support our work. They have marketing teams. There's a path to really meaningful revenue for the business. And that's not because we can't work with smaller brands, and we've grown with somebody like Big Agnes now for like 15 years, and they're still a client since they started. So we can work with smaller brands, but we also have almost 100 people on our team, and we have processes and teams and structure. We're really, a certain threshold of brand makes sense, but it's a fun question. We love kind of the newest, latest gear and whatnot. And, we want to be challenged by clients, but I could say there's a lot of dream clients that are on our roster.
I'm going to throw this out there just so we can put it in the universe and maybe manifest it. Since Greg mentioned we do work with a lot of our dream clients. We've had the opportunity to work with Burton, which was my dream client coming into Backbone, and I was able to work with them on a project last year. But Triumph Motorcycles would be a cool client, I think. And Greg knows that I have heart eye emojis for that brand, but throwing it out there just so we can manifest it.
Yeah, vibes are real. So love that. And happy birthday, Samantha. That's cool. I'm just gonna like accelerate, and I want to talk about growth at Backbone, because I think we have a pretty good idea of what you do, and like you are just expanding all the time. So what does that mean for your employees? And when you get into Backbone, you know, is there a ceiling? Like, do you just kind of stay where you're at? What are the opportunities for you?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a challenging question, and it's a challenge that really started to surface, I would say, 7 years ago, where we really were getting, our team was growing, the talent that we had at Backbone was growing, and it was really important to them that when somebody first asked me that, I'm like, we don't have career paths, like go to Google or something like that. But now, you know, with almost 100 people, it is super important that we can provide growth opportunities for our internal team. And there's been a couple things structurally we've done. When we started at Backbone 25 years ago, and probably for the first 10 years, we were a flat organization. We thought we didn't even have conference room here at Backbone. So I don't know what that means, but we were flat. We were pumping out PR pitches. We were sending out black diamond headlamps, trying to get coverage in Outside Magazine or Powder, wherever it may be. And everybody was doing the same job. Then as we grew, we started creating teams and whatnot. So now we rolled out in June of 2020, which we're proud of. We don't see this as a limiting thing, but a formal organizational chart. So individuals can fully understand where they are in the organization, the different opportunities that sit both vertically above them, but also horizontally. And to Allie's question, I think you could move from one team to another. You could move from the Denver office, the Carbondale office, or vice versa. But really providing growth opportunities is very important. We're flexible in terms of adding new rows to the org chart. Just today, we're talking about adding new services. We're having so much demand for video content creation, and we're doing more there. We're leaning into that as recently as today. But we are very proactive with continuing education, with various members in different leadership programs right now. We're very open to supporting continuing ed. And we also have a formalized review process. So once a year, we have 360 reviews where we collect information from team members that an individual works with. There's a self-review in that as well. And we do that one time a year. We measure that versus a competency chart in terms of things that you need to know and you need to have mastered and how you show up at work. So we have more measurement in there. We're looking to ingest that into ADP and formalize some weird stuff there, but that's growth too at Backbone, you know, working, you know, more kind of structurally in terms of tools and mechanisms for career growth. But the one time a year isn't the only time that you can have a conversation. I just had lunch with a team member yesterday, and we're talking about his growth and his career path. We always want to talk about it. And we also see a time where there's the next generation, there's reimagining influence, there's the next generation of influence, of where influence is coming from. So we have a director team that Christine's part of 12 individuals that are really connected to the clients, the team, and the staff. And really, we are rolling out more empowerment to that director team, more financial transparency in terms of being aware what's happening top and bottom line within the business to drive that growth. And that's more responsibility. It's more management of teams. We have even, you know, we have kind of the coordinator level, which is really it can be your first job, but very quickly we're moving people up into associate strategists, associate manager roles, where once they've kind of gained their voice, it's an opportunity to be more client facing. It's an opportunity for more mentorship. And as the team has grown, just managing a bigger team, I've really noticed a great career inflection point to manage people.
Awesome, thank you. So you touched very, very briefly there on that coordinator position, potentially being an entry-level position at Backbone, a way in. So I wanted to bring Maura up to ask her question.
Hi, I'm Mara. Nice to meet you. So I just asked a question. I was going through the careers and I saw a lot of them had more years of experience, but there were a few positions that had 0 to 2, 2 to 5. But I don't work in the outdoor industry. So I want to make sure I'm on track to get there, even though I'm not going to have years and years of outdoor experience coming in for an interview.
Yeah, totally. We're looking for motivated, curious, fun individuals. And we know that not everybody worked in the outdoor industry. And we don't want everybody coming from the outdoor industry. We want to learn from other industries. We want to learn from people with different backgrounds. We want to, so it's definitely not required that you have relevant experience there. Maybe there's internships, schoolwork that somebody's done. And then really, there's the Facebook Blueprint curriculum that you can go through for free. There's the Google suite of training that's available, and it's for free. And when somebody comes in and says, hey, I just went through the Google Analytics training, I'm certified, like that just shows they're intellectually curious, they're self-directed learners. They care about, getting the job. And, another thing too, with that org chart, and I don't like to go back to it because maybe it puts people in a box, and I don't like that. You want people to be creative and be able to use the highest best use of your time. But one thing that has been important for us in the org chart, like we have a network. We have a network of individuals that we have been able to hire from over the years. And that network also leads us to new business. But what we also know, we can't, as we grow up as a company, can't just hire from our network. We need to cast a broader net. We need to get more unique and diverse voices into Backbone. We'll do better work. And just the org chart allows us to create job descriptions and push them out more broadly on LinkedIn. But when you push them out more broadly on LinkedIn for a certain role, you'll get 100 responses. And two things. They need to use the word Backbone in the cover letter and know who we are and know what state we're located in. So because, we'll just get people who just fired out and they're just like, I would love to work at your company. And it's just like, take a little time, personalize it, maybe lean into some training. We have a guy on our team right now. We hired him, Tony. I think he knew more about our clients than I did. I was just like, so take an interest in the business and that goes a long way. But, I really think those coordinator entry-level roles, they're great and they can lead to more, but you get access to some of the best brands on the planet. You work with team members that are very experienced. You get access to great pro deals. We have fun, we ski, or, different things that we may do as a team. We had our team that works on Yeti and Grundon today. They're doing some collaboration and they were up here rafting today in the valley. So a little bit of a long-winded answer, but you definitely don't have to have experience in the outdoor industry.
Okay, there were some cover letter tips thrown in there for sure. So that was great. And Christine, I think that you wanted to add on to that, but once you're finished, I would also love to know from you the perks that you are smitten about at Backbone, maybe that stand out to you. And then I'm going to bring Sarah up after that too, because she has a great question.
Sure. And I just wanted to encourage you, Greg touched upon this. Unique perspectives and unique voices and unique experience is hugely valuable for our business and for our employees to learn from. We may sit in the outdoor industry and pride ourselves in the outdoor brands that we work with. But as Greg mentioned, we work with active lifestyle brands and brands kind of on the periphery. We work with some alcohol brands and some beer brands trying to reach that active lifestyle audience. So with growth as one of our core values, we can't grow within this outdoor industry box alone. We need to grow beyond it. And so any and all experience from any and all industries would be welcome.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, of course. And then in terms of perks that I love, we have a wellness stipend, and I wanted to toss in a personal anecdote because I fancy myself a yogi these days. And all through my 20s, I probably could have benefited from yoga, and I always wanted to practice yoga, but I never could justify the spend of a membership. And then I landed a job at Backbone, and we have a monthly wellness stipend because we really do prioritize employees' well-being. And I was finally able to buy a yoga membership, and now it's my lifeblood. Yoga is my lifeblood. So one of the perks that I really just love is that we do value well-being and holistic health. And so that wellness stipend has really enabled me to lean into a new passion that I just adore. That's one.
Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I was just wondering, how many years typically do employees work for Backbone? Do you find that they use it as a stepping stone to launch their career, or do they stick around for a while?
Good question. Maybe Christine, I'll jump into that one. It varies, but if you look at, I keep coming back to the org chart, I'm gonna stop saying it, but half our staff is senior and above, half is senior and below. I think your first 2 years at Backbone are amazing. They're super fun. You're working with these cool clients. You have these team members that you work with, you know, that are fun and smart and super, super motivated. And then you get to an inflection point, a little bit, a life inflection point. Cost of living in Western Colorado or Denver. Am I going back to grad school? Do I have a significant other? You know, whatever it may be. So I would say one of our other core values is authenticity, and we work to align people's personal interests with brands that they believe in and possibly use those products. And that connectivity to those brands leads to longer tenure than typical agencies for our staff, and then also leads to longer relationships for us with our clients because we have teams that are aligned and can speak the language and understand where that next customer is coming from. So we have both. We just lost an employee today to REI. Hopefully REI is not on, but like, that's great. You know, cool opportunity for her to go work for REI, and only psyched. I believe that the more backboners that are out there in the world, the better. So, you know, we want to provide career growth, fulfilling compensation and benefits packages that can really support a career. We have many people who have been here 10 years plus. I mentioned Lindsay just retired the other day. Who would have ever thought? And so it's a little bit of both, but there is the possibility that you can kind of align kind of your lifestyle with a career. And somebody said that to me at the burrito shop the other day. They're just like, whatever, I'll just share an anecdote. Be like, I moved here as a climber. I was so into climbing, and all that I wanted to do was climb. And Nelson was like, you know, Greg, it's pretty cool that you were able to align kind of your personal interests with a career. And sometimes we live in a resort community here and you have to work 3 different jobs, but it's really, I think, unique and just a special thing about Backbone that can kind of have that work-life balance and combine the two. And really, I mean, the Denver office as well, I really think of where I work from at the corner of 4th and Colorado here, and you look at our client list, we're not competing with only agencies in the outdoor industry. We're competing with, you know, there's people calling Yeti and Patagonia and Smartwool all day. So the fact that we're duking it out and continuing to win business and keep our clients from the corner of 4th and Colorado, like, Backbone's become a special place. And to be able to have a career, if you choose, but I'm not going to sit here and say everybody makes it a career. You know, it's like hey, sometimes it might be like, here's another better opportunity, or I want to whatever. So a little bit of both, but it's a challenge that we recognize and are continuing. And I'd say one of the things about Backbone, and really I can speak for the whole leadership team, we're learning. We want to be better. We want to kind of disrupt our own business. We want to learn from brand new people. We want to learn from people who have been here for a while.
And I'll just chime in because Greg's a partner and I don't know that he would say this, but there's an open door policy. I mean, we have 5 partners at Backbone, close to 100 employees. You might think that you don't have access to someone with 20 plus years experience that's leading the company, but there's an open door policy. So if there's a question or a professional development opportunity or anything that you would want to communicate with or have a conversation about, the partners are ready and willing to have those conversations. And then Greg also mentioned this director level that we have now with this famous org chart that we've been talking about, but we have a whole level of directors that are also, I believe it's my role to help foster the professional development of the teams that I work on. Sure, we're a client service agency, so we're working with our clients and we're doing work for our clients, but half of my job is to mentor and support my teams.
Thanks for that. So speaking of teams, and something that Jenna and I know is that remote work and the ability to work from home is super high on, we have a little one here. Hold up, come say hi. This is Wyatt. She's and getting prepared.
Hi,
Wyatt. We know that work from home and remote work is extremely important. So I wanted to call Kayala, I hope I'm saying that right, up to ask her question.
You were close. It's Keela.
Keela.
Like tequila, you know?
Funny.
Yes. So I was curious. I'm super curious about your guys' culture, just company culture. I know you have a Carbondale office, you've got your Denver office, and then you mentioned that you have remote employees. How do you blend these? Like, Denver is very different than Carbondale. Like, Colorado is Colorado, but they are different. And then you've got people outside of your offices. How are you blending those cultures? How are you like fostering those communities?
I can start. I can maybe jump in first, Greg, because I am down here in the Denver office. And although I think we're neck and neck in terms of numbers now, when I started 5 years ago, we had 8 employees maybe down in the Denver office. So it was somewhat lopsided in that HQ was Carbondale and there were 40 plus people up there. But we held our own. You're very, very accurate in that Denver is very different from Carbondale. And so I like to think of it as Backbone is kind of our North Star, the culture that Penn founded 25 years ago and that still exists today, that work-life balance, the work hard, play hard, align your passions with your profession. That exists on this like top level North Star of the organization. And then you've got the subculture of Carbondale and the subculture of Denver. And in Denver, when we were working more so with HQ kind of pre-pandemic times, we have a lot of communication systems in place where you hop on the phone, which has now kind of turned into a Zoom call, or Slack someone, which has now turned into huddles as Greg is trying to roll out across the agency, because Slack offers this feature where you can huddle up with someone really quick. Those lines of communication and open lines of communication has really helped us with our collaboration. So kind of on the professional side of things. And then in terms of culture, we do have different cultures. Like we talked about, Carbondale, they can hop out and go for a mountain bike ride at lunch. Not as easy for us down in Denver. But we were attached to Core Power Studio at our last, Core Power Yoga at our last office. So we had a bunch of yogis that would go to lunch yoga, or on Fridays we had what we called a runch, and it was a lunch. We would go for a run during lunch. So we were able to foster the subculture that kind of laddered up to this North Star of Backbone's overall culture. And then in terms of remote employees, same thing. Like, I think the communication is really, really important. And we keep those lines of communication open. I work with someone who lives in Pennsylvania, and I work with someone who lives in Oregon. And it's really just kind of that daily communication. If I'm not working with someone on a team, I try and check in with them weekly. So for me, I think it's the communication piece, especially for this kind of hybrid and work remote world that we're living in. And then we do have something called the charge, because we don't retreat. It's not a company retreat, it's a company charge. And we haven't been able to do it in person the last couple of years, but that is 2 times a year. We bring everyone together wherever you work, wherever you live. And we just have an incredible time together where we're learning from each other, and we have a couple of workshops. Greg can tell you more about this gong bath that we had at one point in a silo. But that's also a time for us to come together and build that team bonding. And so I think that Backbone does a really great job of fostering that culture, even though we're kind of scattered all over right now.
Awesome. And Backbone puts I'm going into money right now. So Backbone puts all of their salaries right in their job description. So everyone knows what you're paying, which is excellent because you are helping to close the wage gap with that transparency. So we love that. But please tell us a little bit about, once you're working at Backbone, what do pay raises and promotions look like? And also, what does that feedback look like? Is it a standardized process for folks to get feedback and understand where they stand and how they're doing?
Yeah, I would say good question, important question, and that's changing, right? I mean, generationally and whatnot. And again, it's important that we continue to learn, we continue to meet our team members they're challenging us, and we want to be the best employer we can be. So, Colorado law now does require that we publish our salary ranges with jobs, which maybe felt a little weird at first, but I offered somebody a job today and it was the top of the pay scale, and she was psyched, and she knew what it was going to be, and it was actually great. And that's just like real world experience happening this morning. And we like that transparency in terms of pay. We have worked very hard across the organization to have equity within the job titles. But also knowing that you might have somebody who comes from a different company and they have a certain job title. So it's really challenged us, I'd say, in a good way, to have structure and process there. Kind of mentioned those 360 reviews that we have, which typically are an inflection point for a raise and or a promotion. We also do off-cycle promotions very, very commonly. And that feedback in terms of getting a raise or a promotion comes from everybody you work with. So not just your team, it comes from the finance team. How do you manage kind of the flow of dollars from your client on the media side of things? How does it work with, say, digital operations? And how do you take reports and provide actionable insights to your clients? So we really look across the organization to get that feedback, because what we learned, and I'll just be honest here, for a long time, the partners, we do the reviews for people and decide if they would get a raise. Well, we're not as connected to their day-to-day work as, say, the directors are or associate directors. So it's important for us to get the complete picture and also get that self-review too. Where do you want to go? How, what are your goals? We're just moving an employee from one part of the business to the other also today. Lots of HR stuff today. But yes. That was mostly your question, right?
That was. And you know what? In our pre-chat, we talked about someone raising their hand to say, you know what? I came into Backbone in PR or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I'm really, really enjoying social or SEO or data or whatever that is. And you are creating sometimes whole departments out of skill sets and out of team members that exist and saying like, yep, let's go there. Or, oh, you want to move over here? Go do it, because we have so much business and we have nothing but kind of like room for people to grow.
Yeah, no, we love that. We're entrepreneurial, like on everything we do. We have the big stamp on top of it. We're an entrepreneurial business. Again, we don't want to put people in a box, and we're launching SEO now. We know we have the trust and clients that are asking for it. So it could be an external hire or internal team member, but really a real world experience. And I referenced it earlier. We want a piece of business today for full channel management of TikTok for a client, both strategy and content creation. We have a young woman on our team. She joined us about a year ago, and she's a filmmaker, a video editor, and she's doing some social media reporting or whatnot. That is not the highest, best use of her time. She makes amazing reels, amazing TikToks. So right now, and she's working with our marketing team for a submission for an award and doing another video project. So soon enough, Clara is only going to be doing video, and maybe we have more creative services and creating socially optimized assets for our clients and whatnot. We have an amazing graphic designer who joined us this year, Crispin, and our marketing team is firing. So we are very entrepreneurial in terms of everything we do. And for some people that works, we found, and that's their mindset. But other people need to know what their task and what their path is. So there's a little bit of both. It's not just like come in and kind of find your way, but there are opportunities. I mean, people ask me, what are you most looking for when you're hiring? Mostly it's creativity. It's like, how can you think creatively? How do you, where's the next customer coming from? How do you transcend the medium? How do you reimagine influence? It's really, the world is changing, and we definitely don't have a blueprint for successful brands. We need to bring that creative thinking and really working across teams and having that brain stew. We have a lot of clients and people are like, well, don't you have conflict within all those clients? It's like, sure, there's conflict, but we also have category expertise, and we have mechanisms for confidentiality and firewalls and all that stuff. But what clients mostly want, they want unique and creative ideas for their business. They don't want things repurposed. So that comes back to that creativity. And we're not a creative shop, but creativity is great.
There's room for a whole nother department is what you're saying.
It's starting.
So I would love to hear just kind of a quick snapshot of what roles you're currently hiring for. And then I would like to go to Maria for her question, which is really great, especially pertinent and resonates with me as a mom of 3. And I'll let her ask that. But first, can you just kind of give a quick rattle off of some of the positions you're currently hiring for?
Yeah, I'd say there's a few that come to mind. On our careers page, they're all right there. The salary range is published. Jenna, I knew that was the question. But there's 3 that I wanted to call out right now. We have a position that's open. It's a social media director. We have a kick-ass social media team at Backbone. They are firing and super, super talented and a high level of social acumen across Backbone, but we're looking for somebody to join that team. We believe in kind of servant leadership a bit. We want somebody to join the team and add value to their day-to-day client work. That individual is experienced in terms of managing teams, creating processes, pitching new business, thinking strategically. So that's one. We have a data and analytics role that we see, the future is data, all that stuff, whatever. But we buy $45 million worth of media. We're optimizing campaigns all day, every day. We have an operation and analytics team that have automated processes of ingesting data from different platforms, pumping it out on Tableau for data visualization, and it goes to the media strategists or media directors to talk to the clients. We want somebody in between there who is really an expert at developing the team in providing actionable insights to our clients. One thing we also see, we have more pipes into more brands in the active lifestyle space, maybe than anybody. And that data in aggregate, it would always be anonymized. We never share information across clients. But that data, if it were anonymized, could be the most complete snapshot of what's going on in the outdoor industry that exists. And that's interesting, not just benchmarks for click-through or whatnot, but like really what is happening and how are dollars spent, where are they most effective out there. So that's a data and analytics role. And then we also have, I talked about SEO. We're also looking to bring in an associate director or director there to help kind of spearhead a whole new offering for Backbone. And we did that with affiliate, where we came in, we worked with clients. We had a free service offering for a while, then we rolled that into a paid offering, and now that team's 6 or 7 people. So we're going to do that with SEO, and that's back to that growth mindset that Backbone has, that we can have these startup kind of sections of our business within the comfort of a company that has no debt, that is fiscally conservative, that served us well during COVID, and we're ready to make investments, whether that's possible acquisitions of smaller agencies or investment into headcount. But Allie, it's not just those 3 positions. We're looking for a lot other, but the other thing too, within those positions, almost all that are mentioned, we have internal candidates, and we love internal candidates. We want to provide opportunity for people that work here. But we also know that everything we do can't be homegrown. We need to maybe bring in an expert that worked somewhere else. And we went through a very rigorous process of hiring a digital director in Q1 this year. And we brought over Diana on our team, and she was 10 years at Vail running paid media there, and just brings a point of view that's really valuable and additive to the team. In each of those roles too, I always think like, nothing's broken. Like, come on in, join us, roll up your sleeves. It's not an organization where it's like, hey, you have a title and somebody's going to bring you a coffee. That has never happened once here. Penn, who founded the agency, been here 25 years, he's as likely to be sending out a black diamond headlamp to a journalist as a coordinator that started last week. So we're all in it. We all have client work. And that's a long-winded answer.
And those 3 positions, like Greg mentioned, aren't the only ones available. I think we have 10, 11, 12 job postings right now on our careers page, and those change. So if none of those are appealing or speak to your skill set, keep checking back to the careers page, because as we've talked a lot about, we're growing and we're growing fast, and those job postings grow with us.
Awesome, thank you. And we have some other pertinent questions that kind of speak to that as well. But first, because I said Maria can come up, Maria, come on up, ask your question.
Hello, everybody. I'm Maria. I have a question that is a bit vague, so feel free to answer however, and I think perhaps Christine will be able to answer it best. But what exactly does flexibility look like for your employees?
We have what we call flex time, so baked right into kind of our day-to-day. We have core working hours of 10 to 3, I think that it is. And so a lot of times that's when our client calls are happening. That's when our internal status calls might be happening. And outside of those, as long as you don't have those steadfast meetings, you can make a doctor's appointment, pick up the kiddos at school. Even when Greg and I were preparing for this tonight, we had a meeting scheduled, and I think some plans changed and he had to pick up the kids from school. And so we have a flexible enough work policy. And I hate even to say policy, because it's really just flexibility and an open-minded policy, I guess, that we're human beings and we have lives, and there are certain things that you can only do in the 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 time block outside in your personal life. So we do have that flexibility baked in to our day-to-day. Another perk, I guess, that would also be considered flexibility is something we call the powder clause. It originated as a ski day. It snows 6, 7, 8 inches. You know, a lot of people live up in the valley. They head up to Aspen and they go ski a few laps and get back to their desks by 1. But as we've grown and as we've brought on more than just skiers, we've opened that up to yoga practice. If you want to meditate in the morning, or if you have leaf peeping on the mind because the leaves are so beautiful right now. You can have that flexibility in the mornings, and you make up that time for all that I've talked about. You make up that time either that day or that week, and really it's get the job done, work hard for your clients, but it's not necessarily a butts and seats kind of agency.
Cool. And I know we have a lot of freelancers in our community, and Lauren asked a really great question about freelancers and working with them. So Lauren, if you want to come up and ask that.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Lauren Lauria Corbett, and I am a freelance photographer and writer for the outdoor industry. And I was kind of asking, like, what does your guys' relationship to freelancers look like, as well as how do you suggest kind of creating the relationship with agencies like Backbone?
Yeah, it's good. It's a good question, and I'll try to answer it. So historically, Backbone has prided ourselves of being able to deliver for a client by having that skill set under the Backbone roof. What we have found over the years is that we're stronger and we're better when we bring in the right team for the project. So we have a really, really heady project right now for a very big client in the space. And they wanted us to look at their content holistically, their blog, their newsletter, their email, their social, their website. They produce publications, all kinds of stuff. And that was scary and daunting. And for that, we were able to tap into the Backbone network that I've mentioned a couple of times. And we found an amazing individual that was well-suited, that we've had experience with. And he joined our team. He's on our Slack channel. He has access to our documents, and he is co-leading that process with us. We're totally transparent client side in terms of what that structure looks like. So we will use freelancers at certain times for projects. We've worked with a ton of content creators, influencers, photographers, videographers throughout the years. And again, we're a Backbone network. You know, we have a network of people, and we want to, sometimes it just makes sense. Hey, you're looking for a video project and for one of our clients, and be like, we'd love you to connect with Lauren. We trust her. We know her. You guys just work directly. We don't want a kickback. We don't want anything. We're just hoping we're providing you connectivity to somebody that can meet your needs. So it's really important that we are continuing to grow our network, to have new skill sets. And sometimes too, we'll work with somebody and be like, they're really great. And then maybe there's an opportunity to join the team. So it's not, we have, and I'll be really honest with you, over the years, we've had tons and tons of photographers, reach out to Backbone, event companies and whatnot. And many times people are like, can we talk about your clients and how I could plug in? And it's like, well, that would take a while. Why don't we try to find one place where we could do something? And whether that's a media partner, I remember Pandora, our first campaign with Pandora, it's like, let's just do one. And now we've done 100, so, right. Let's just get something going, find maybe where there's an opportunity. And we always want to meet new, different people that can be a solution or provide great work for one of our clients.
And Greg, can I ask, if Lauren wanted to work with you and had an idea, I'm assuming that if she pitched you and said, I can do this for you, I can solve this problem, instead of being like, hey, I'd love to work with you in any capacity, that might get your attention a little bit sooner because it's less work for you. Yeah,
I mean, you could be like, hey, I see you work with Tin Cup Whiskey. I see that you guys create Instagram reels for them every week. I created this reel because I know how to make the best Manhattan in the world, or whatever it may be. That's going to get Christine and mine's attention, somebody like that. Kind of like I referenced Tony when I was interviewing Tony, and he was going through our clients more astutely than anybody I've ever interviewed times 10. I'm like, we got to hire this guy. So, taking an interest in our business is important. The woman I mentioned we offered a job this morning to, I complimented her on her resume. I mean, it just was so well done and kind of representative of who she was in a very complete way. And I complimented her, and probably not many people get feedback on their resume from a hiring manager or whatnot. So yeah, take an interest in what we do, and that would be much more effective, Jenna. Good question, Lauren.
All right, I think I wanted to hear Ruthie's question. I thought this was a really great one and might give us some insight. Ruthie, come on up and ask your question.
Hi, my question was just like, what advice would each of y'all give to your younger selves at the start of your career?
That's a great question.
That's for you, Christine, to start.
I think, gosh, I started my career in New York City, and it was very much head down, 60, 70, 80 hours a week. You work for a living. You don't necessarily live life. And so fortunately, I was able, like I mentioned, to travel out west, and growing up in the Northeast, there's a certain culture, there's a certain mentality there, especially in New York City. And so I didn't even know there was another way of life. And when I moved out west and settled into the Western way of life, and then landed a job at Backbone, I think that's finally when it sunk in that you can have both. You can have a really successful career, you can love what you're doing, and you can have the work-life balance to live life outside of work. So I think the advice I would give to younger me is that there's more than just 60, 70, 80 hours a week. There's a lot more to life than that. And there are jobs out there that encourage and promote that lifestyle.
Yeah, and maybe to dovetail on that, I graduated from college with an accounting degree. And my first job was my own company, and that was starting the Philadelphia Rock Gym, an indoor climbing gym. We had no money, we had no business sense. Like renting a place in Philadelphia was, I could talk for days on that. And I remember my dad, like he worked at the phone company his entire life. And he's like, you have an accounting degree and you're starting an indoor climbing gym? And you know, we saw an opportunity there. So I do think maybe it's a little cliche to say take risks or whatnot, but that's been a thread that's kind of followed me through my whole career. So yeah.
I think that I would jump on that too. Aligning your passions. Like, again, maybe this is the mentality of the Northeast, but I didn't realize that you could align your passions with your professional career. And we've talked about, I think a couple of our team members were out on the river today. Just last week, I was hiking mountains with our Tin Cup client on a press trip. And so that was work. That was my office, was the Continental Divide. And so the fact that you can, it's possible to align passions and still make a good living. And yeah, that aligning passions with your professional life.
Totally agree. And I know a lot of our audience today has actually applied for a position at Backbone. So Carrie has a question for anyone, I think, that has applied and is kind of like waiting on their next move and how to do it best.
Yeah, hi, I'm Carrie. And yeah, I recently applied for the affiliate manager position. So just curious what would make somebody stand out as an applicant and kind of how to follow up.
That's fun. I figured people on this call would have applied for jobs. So good question there. So again, I don't think it's too dissimilar to maybe my answer back to Lauren in terms of stay on us. I mean, we do have an HR director, we do have a process, but like I mentioned, we have 100+ clients and we are client facing and delivering for them all day, every day. Hiring and developing our staff is probably the most important thing we can do, but certainly there are great candidates that we've missed or opportunity. So we're probably offering a job to somebody tomorrow that we told them 2 weeks ago, hey, maybe not a fit right now, but our business changes all the time. Here we are 2 weeks from now going back. So that is the pace that Backbone is. It is fast. And we have some wind at our back right now. So we're always looking for great people. So if you applied and you got the auto response, I apologize, but stay on us, apply again, get, really capture our attention in that first paragraph. Like, hey, did you see that Amazon increased their affiliate or decreased their affiliate commission by 2%, or like whatever, just like find something that's kind of relevant in the category, connect it to our business. You don't want me, you probably are an affiliate expert, or we're just meeting, but like you don't have to, like, we can develop people, we can bring people in a more senior level. Charlie Losner, who is a digital VP of digital, we co-run the media team. He just did an affiliate podcast with Martech, Martech. He did an affiliate podcast 1 week ago. And if you watch that and you send him an email, he will definitely respond. I'm putting him on the spot right now. That's a hot take.
Thank you so much. That's awesome.
And the podcast is good. I mean,
even better.
Webinar. No, it's good. The one of the leaders at TikTok was on it, another woman who was really dialed, and Charlie did an amazing job. So watch that and email him, and I'll bet you we'll connect at some point. That's fine.
I love it. Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Christine, I saw you came off mute. I didn't know if you had something else to add to that.
Oh, just from maybe a broader, more general sense, if you haven't applied for a specific affiliate position or won't listen to this podcast, I think just get creative, and we're all marketers. Like I'm on the PR team, Greg's on the media team, but we're all marketers at the end of the day. We do lots more outside of each of those disciplines. And so I think to kind of break through the noise, we as marketers have to get creative and get scrappy sometimes. So do the same, get creative, get scrappy, be a marketer, market yourself.
Awesome. Derek, I'm not sure if you're still on the call. I hope so. His question is extremely pertinent. Many journalists think about going over to PR because y'all seem like you have such fun jobs. I remember when I was at Outside Magazine and I was working with Backbone Media specifically, I must have talked to Ian and Penn about how can I apply to Backbone Media like 50 times throughout those years. So Derek had a question. Derek, are you here?
I'm here. I'm
awesome.
Here. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for taking my question. Yeah, so I work for Wide Open Media and have looked at Backbone a ton and have stayed on the application list a lot lately, it seems like. But my question was, you mentioned a little bit earlier how you started Backbone coming from the media side and working through that. I guess my question is, do you have any advice for making that transition from being on the media side to going to the PR marketing agency side in comparison? I've talked with a couple other agencies outside of the outdoor industry and have been rejected, and was wondering if there was any advice or had any other cases that were similar.
I can jump in, especially specific to PR. Some writers would hate me for saying this, but we like to believe that we're storytellers too. So your writing background is super applicable, and that skill set translates well. We might not be able to get as creative as writers do when you're writing a story because we're crafting pitches and we're brainstorming story angles. But the writing discipline, it's an important skill set probably for all of our disciplines here, not just PR. So I guess if you've applied before, and you're welcome to send me an email, writing samples really do go a long way. And even just problem solving skills. So I'm trying to think of how I can give you tangible advice on how you might be able to showcase problem solving skills. But we found that sometimes it is a tough transition from the media side or journalism side of things to PR, because while we like to believe we're storytellers, we're not really able to create a story from start to finish. We're kind of given something that we craft story angles around. So I would just caution you that it's maybe not as creative as what you're doing right now, but writing samples go a long way. And then we're problem solvers for our clients. So it's one part PR, one part account management. And maybe that's the piece that's not landing, the account management side, because that really is kind of a learned skill set. We're a service-based agency. You kind of have to have that customer service mindset. So if you've ever worked in retail, you might not think that that's relevant, super relevant, because we provide customer services. Greg, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Yeah, no, I just share a couple. I think I see your UT. Are you a UT alum back there? Yeah. We might
Yes,
have
sir.
two.
Yep, UT and Oklahoma, actually. It's a big week for me.
Okay, UT. We might have, maybe we're at our threshold of Colorado College and UT alum. I use that as a joke, but I mentioned Tacovas, I mentioned Yeti coolers. Like, we have some great clients down in Austin and love coming down there. So super fun. The other place too, that's really interesting that I think about, and I'm really close with our social team. It's really important for us. We work with a brand, and a lot of times we create content. Very specifically, we write copy, and it's hard, right, for social. You know, you want to speak to people how they want to be spoken to on the platform, and copy for Instagram is different than copy for TikTok, and everything in between. So, and you might, so how does a brand express themselves, take kind of the brand standard that they have, and really connect authentically on those platforms? And I see a huge opportunity. And I've noticed specifically that people who come from newspapers that crank out content every day, all day, they're just like, they don't take 6 weeks to write an article. I don't mean to speak negatively to anybody that does that, but they're creating content like that night. Like, it is happening. And that reminds me of social. And, you're cranking out headlines, it needs to be, you need to have proper grammar, but you got to be funny and you got to connect authentically. And really, I think for journalists, connecting and really kind of developing that brand voice on social is an area that can be improved upon. And I know we have a need there. So that's my tip there.
Jean had a really interesting question about the leadership team that I'm also interested to hear. So Jean, if you want to come up and ask that, and Jean has a resume on him, so.
Sure, thanks for the chance to join this. I was just curious, you had mentioned a little bit of the structure of the teams at the various levels. What about that leadership structure? How is it formed and sort of divided at that executive level?
Yeah, totally. So I did speak to a couple things, and I'll drill into it. So half of our staff is senior and above, but really the top leadership structure is made up of the director team, the VP team, and the co-presidents of the organization. So we have worked to kind of define, reduce redundancy maybe a little bit across that team. The president team, they're dealing with the business of Backbone, and on any given day, it's real estate, it's HR, it's, client, whatever it may be. The VP level is really working within the teams and the departments to kind of guide what's going on there. And then the director team is really connected closely to the client work and the staff that are working across those teams. We are very transparent within that leadership team in terms of where we're going, the financials of it all. And so ask me a second question to that. Like, it's good.
That's great. No, I think that context is helpful, and it helps explain also why you guys are growing and how you're structuring yourselves to be poised for that continued growth. So it sounds like it's a smart model that you guys have in place.
Yeah, the other thing too, good question, thanks for it, Jean. The other thing too, I wanted to mention, another part of kind of the guidance and growth we have the Backbone, we have a guide program. So the guide program is for new people that join the company, they get assigned a guide. And that's an opportunity to learn how to navigate Backbone. How do I ask a question? I need to ask, not like, how do I optimize a campaign for Yeti? I mean, like, there's day job stuff for that. but we have this guide program, like, how do I navigate Backbone? How do I find the right housing in the Valley? Or, you know, whatever it may be, or I have this question. And that guide program's been good, both for the guide and the guidee. It's another opportunity for our senior staff to mentor and develop individuals. And it's just a safe place to ask a question. Maybe you might think, okay, it's not optimizing the campaign, it's how do I ask for an extra 2 days off for, yeah, I don't know, like whatever it may be. So we want to learn, we want to do better, we want to get better. It's been really fun to see specifically the director team really grow. And it's interesting too that it's like, I look at Christine and the other directors, like they have a ton to add to the conversation. I mean, they have a ton, and we're gonna have to be like, hey, do we have more positions, you know, for them to grow into? Like, we don't want a glass ceiling situation. So they're challenging us, and we wanna meet them and get better. We have another agency that we own. It's called Rigor, RYGR.US. We have 13 people there, and we've had Mackenzie, she left Backbone to go co-lead Rigor. Like, so there's an opportunity there to work within kind of the complete organization for more career growth.
And we've talked a lot about this director level too, but the guide program really does touch on some of the other mentorship opportunities outside of the quote unquote leadership team. Like Greg mentioned, we're all entrepreneurs. There's a lot of hard charging people that work at Backbone, and they want to grow outside of the account management side of things or the account coordination side of things. So there are opportunities along the way, not just for the leadership team. Like, I think we start the guide program at senior account managers or senior media strategists to give that group of people and that team a voice and some mentorship opportunities to work hand in hand with younger, greener staff. And we have a couple of other things in place. Our DEI council, that's another opportunity for us to grow and learn and listen as an organization in that space, but also giving voice to some of our greener staff so that they can lead the subcommittee. It's not just the directors on the subcommittee of the council. It's really giving voice to all of our staff so that they can have a voice in the conversation.
That's great. Thanks.
Sure.
So the next question that I want to get to is from Claire. And I think it's interesting because you talked about if someone internal has skills that you'll potentially, you know, open a department to utilize those skills. So Claire, why don't you come on?
Claire dipped out, actually. She left a little message, but we should ask another question, but just before we go to, there's so many questions we might not get to. So if people have questions that we didn't get to, Christine and Greg, can they contact you in some way? Like, can we facilitate that?
Totally. Our emails are on the website.
Perfect. Okay.
Send us an email.
Love it. Love having a little bit of
will respond tomorrow. I'm not sure if I will. That's a joke, but we'll get to it. I'm taking tomorrow off. I'm hiking to Capitol Lake, so I won't respond tomorrow.
I'll be here. And if not tomorrow, we can figure something out. If there's an influx of emails, maybe we can host another quick chat.
Yeah, no, I love the questions.
Okay, but I think that okay, I don't know how to say this name. Gwilyn, are you still here?
Yes, I am. Hello.
Hi. How do you say your name?
How are you? It's actually Gwilyn.
Gwilyn. Okay. Awesome.
Like Dylan. Yeah. Yeah. So my question was, during your projects with each client that you work with, what's the interaction level like? Like, are you checking in kind of with each step that you go forward, or how do you guys kind of take that on?
It varies so much, I think, client to client and team to team, and scope of work to scope of work. But we could be in constant contact with clients. I mentioned Slack earlier. It's our internal messaging system. Some of our clients have weaseled their way into it so that that's a direct line of communication. Of course, there's always email. We do have weekly status calls or bi-weekly status calls with our clients. So it really is, it's a collaboration. And I would say that just to speak to like the approvals process or like every step of the way for each project, we have the trust of our clients. So a lot of times we're able to run with a project or run with things. Of course, if we're working with a more corporate client or legal approvals are needed, there are those check boxes to check, but it's super collaborative in one sense, but we also have the trust of our clients to really run with it. Did that answer your question?
Yes, definitely. Thank you. I figured that it's pretty important, the interaction between your client, but I like that the fact that you guys have that kind of trust and security to be able to move forward kind of on your own like that.
I think too, maybe to dovetail on that, I remember interviewing a woman in New York City, and she asked how client facing we were. And I kind of had to do a double take for a second. I'm like, oh, we're almost too client facing. Like, we're talking to them all the time, you know, whereas she was coming from a giant agency, might have worked for some huge company, never talked to a client. And that's what I think is really cool about Backbone, that no matter where you are within the organization, you are connected to the client very, very regularly. And that exposure, I think, really helps people's growth. I think it adds to kind of job satisfaction. And we always bring people really in because we do believe in terms of understanding the entire strategy for a client would help them deliver on the part that they work on. So client facing is really, really important. And I see aspen trees in your background, so you must be like at 6,000 feet somewhere, like Crested Butte, it looks like. Where are you?
I'm actually in Snowmass Village right now.
Oh, okay. Close.
Yeah, it's pretty close. I hiked over to Crested Butte on Saturday. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Funny.
Thank you guys for answering my question.
Yep.
Nice. Okay. Jordan has a very good logistical question about relocation.
Yes, so I'm Jordan. I'm actually in St. Louis. And so my question was, if you guys hire people out of state that want to relocate to the offices and do not want to work remotely, do you guys do that, as well as do you offer any kind of relocation bonus or sign-on bonus to kind of help with the relocation?
Yeah. First, I'll apologize for that dagger you guys got by the Dodgers in the 9th last night. You know, if you're a Cardinals fan.
No, October's always really rough for us, and I don't like to talk about it.
Penn, who is co-president of Backbone, he is a huge Cardinals fan and appreciated the great game last night, but heartbroken for the loss. But yeah, we do. So, you know, it's important for us that we cast a wide net in terms of attracting the best individuals. And through kind of the whole comp package, it is very common that we'll help somebody relocate to either Denver or Carbondale. And, you know, also just to dovetail too, I mean, I like that what you led with, you're like, if you're not interested in working remotely, and, you know, we want to come out of the pandemic, we're going to all of us put that in our rearview mirror, and we want to be a progressive, modern workplace. And we know we need stand-up desks. We know we need remote employees. We know we need flexibility in terms of when you're coming to the office. But we also put a priority on the quality of our office space. Everybody has great technology and hardware and everything there. So we believe in the power of the office and collaboration, but also we have great people in Boise and all over the place. And we can work effectively. And I think in some ways, talking to a guy today in Bend, you know, it's interesting, like, we need to connect into that community a little more deeply. So, you know, it can be an advantage having people distributed, knowing that kind of having that gravity in the office, that gravitas that makes people want to work and the spirit of what's going on. I was in the Denver office the other day bringing bagels in, and we're just getting the new office going, and it was so quiet. And maybe you guys would know that I'm not that quiet of a guy. I've been rambling here for an hour. But I came in, I'm like, why is it so quiet in here? Well, we didn't have the Sonos speakers up and whatnot. And one of our team members, she's like, I've never worked in an office. And she's worked at Backbone almost 2 years. It's because she was in college and then was working from her bedroom for a while. So, you know, we believe in the vibrancy of the office as well. But, you know, the world has changed and we're adapting to that as well.
Great. Thank you so much.
Sure.
I think this is our last question for tonight, but Luke, if you are still hanging on, I want to get your question answered for all of the students.
Oh, I'm here. Hello. So I'm currently a student and I'm in the process of looking for internships. And last semester I saw that there was an internship opportunity at Backbone. I didn't take it because I was a freshman at that point, but I was curious if you're going to offer another internship opportunity possibly the following summer, and if you have any tips for applying.
Yes, absolutely. I love working with the internship program. Historically, we've offered it on the PR side, but as our services have grown, we've been able to, our intern now, Grace, she's working across PR, social media, affiliate. So she's really able to lean into a lot of different categories and hopefully grow a skill set and learn. So yes, 100%, we're looking for interns and we'll offer internship opportunities. We've even done it remote. Jack, he was our intern last summer. He's actually now a full-time employee. He was one of the ones out on the river today. So hopefully the internship not just helps you learn new skills, but if you have a great time and you enjoy your time at Backbone and find yourself gravitating towards the work that we do, hopefully there would be an opportunity for you after the fact. And you can email me right now. I'm kind of leading the charge on the internship opportunities. So of course you can apply through the website. I think it would be a general job opportunity, that inquiry there. But you can email me directly and we can set up a time to chat for sure.
Thank
and
you.
Luke, I love that you're thinking, well, I like your name, it's my son's name too, but I love that you're thinking about internships, because we see great resumes and, you know, love seeing that kind of relevant experience on the internship side of things. Sounds like maybe you're a sophomore or now. Where do you go?
I go to USC in LA.
Oh, nice. Did you go to the game last night? Dodgers game. No, I brought it up twice, but down the street.
Big sports fan.
I'm actually
a big sports fan. But love seeing those internships on the resume. And we've also had, and Christine just mentioned Jack. I mean, he's awesome on the team. We have a great track record of hiring interns too. You know, it's like the protracted job interview. So get our attention, just like kind of talking, I think it was to Lauren, about kind of freelance photography stuff. Same thing. Get our attention, be creative.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for coming. This was fantastic. Thank you, Greg and Christine, for all of that information. It was wonderful. And also those tactical tips. I mean, you really, really dropped some good advice in there. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and thanks for all the questions. I mean, really fun. I mean, I would say I would stay on, but Wyatt would be like, no, we're reading books or something like that. So anyhow, it was fun for me. I was a little kind of nervous to be in front of everybody, but it just flew by and really fun to be part of it.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us. And thank you all for joining and all the great questions. This was awesome.
Yeah, great questions. We will be sending out your info again to the folks on this call, and amazing questions. Once again, everyone, thank you so much for coming. Please answer our survey because we really want to know what you thought. And our website is wearetheoutdoorindustry.com. If you're not in the group, please join the group. If you have other questions here, you can ask those questions in the group as well. But yeah, Backbone Media has so many positions open right now, and that open-ended application, I want to encourage you all to use it, because if you do not see something for you there, they want to still know about your skills. So be using those resources. And if you have questions for us, Jenna or Allie at wearetheoutdoorindustry.com anytime.
Yeah, and maybe my one final thought, you know, if you send us a note or submit a resume on Submittable, just mention you were on this. That will catch our eye and kind of took an interest.
Love that idea. Perfect. All right, everyone have an excellent night and we will talk soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for putting this on.
You're welcome.